In this video we are going to see how to create this design using HTML and CSS for the desktop version. Not only for the desktop version, we would be making this design as a responsive. That means the design will be different for mobile, the design would be different for tablet, and the design would be different for desktop. Right now you could just see only the desktop version, but at the end of the video you can see the design for mobile version as well as for the tablet version. I hope, or I believe, I will make sure that the design is different for the three devices. Fine. Now if you want to learn how to create this wireframe, I have a complete tutorial for this. I have created this with the help of Figma, so in case if you want to learn, you can learn it. And if you want to follow with me in the PSD to HTML, right now I will leave all the source code in the description box so that you can follow along. And in case after creating the wireframe you want to convert the whole wireframe into the working website, I have a separate course for that. This is landing page is created with the help of a WordPress plugin called WP Bakery, which is a common plugin. So after creating this wireframe, you can completely create the same website with the help of WP Bakery plugin, which is also known as Visual Composer, just by dragging and dropping. So the main course of this video is, after creating the wireframe, we are individually extracting the section and creating it so that we can understand how to create from scratch. Fine. The scope of this video is designing this website. Fine. Now just to give you an overview, we have two sections. The first section has a container. Inside the container, that is the reason why we have given the margin left and right. Inside the container we have a row. This row has three columns: the first column, the second column, and the third column. Once this is done, we have a second container, or in a second section. This second section also has a container, and inside the container we have a row, and inside the row we have three columns: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And inside each column we have a box, and inside the box we have icon, plumbing, text, and the paragraph. So the box which is inside the column is responsible for having the box shadow. Fine. Enough with the overview. Like let's get into the actual code. So before getting into the actual code, let's see the head tag. We have the external style sheet, which we will be designing in a minute, or in this particular video. And after that I have a font awesome icon link, which is also known as CDN. And then we have the font family Roboto with its font weight 400, 700, and 900. Fine. Now let's start the work. We have a container. Inside the container we have a row. Inside the row we have first column. First column has the text. We provide a high quality service. The high line break quality service. And after that we have another column which will have paragraph and a lorem ipsum text, lorem of, say, let's say 30. The same way, one more time. Once this is done, this is our actual HTML looks like. Now let's work on the second one. So let's place this inside a section. So this is first section, and let's work on the second section. So to uniquely identify, you can give description, and the ID for this is going to be feature. Fine. Inside that we have container again, row, then column, then box, as I said, and then we have I tag. And this I tag I have already took it from the internet. Some different this is the different icon. In case if you want to learn icons, I have a separate playlist for this, for creating icon. I'll leave the link in the description, just to learn from it. Plumbing, text, and then the paragraph we have lorem of 20. Now we need the copy of 4 times. So get the column and make this 4 times. Cool. Now let's work on the CSS. We have section with ID tscri. Let's copy this just to avoid the spelling mistake. And inside the description text, description ID section, we have container class, and inside the container class, what we have inside the container class, we have a row. Inside the row we have column, and inside the column we have text. Let me make this as h1. The first column has h1 and the second column has paragraph. h1 and then the paragraph. Fine. Now let's work on the second section, which is section with ID feature. Inside that we have container, and inside the container we have a row. Inside the row we have column class. Inside the column we have box, and inside the box we have I tag, h6, and then finally the para. So I would recommend you to follow this kind of hierarchy to avoid CSS overriding issue. In short, we are just concentrating on one particular section. In a working PSD or a live PSD, there could be more than 10 to 12 sections, so there's a chance of having or repeating the same class multiple times. So if you make this kind of hierarchy, thus even if you use multiple same class name for in multiple times, this kind of hierarchy will save CSS override issue. Fine. Now let me show you the HTML. This is how it looks. Now let's work on the first section. So for the first section, let's have the minimum height of, let's say, 600 pixel, and let the background be gray, and whatever is there inside, the color need to be black. I think it's too big. Let me make this as 400. Cool. Now I want it to be side by side. So before side by side, I need some space. So let's add the margin, top and bottom 50 on all sides. Let me make this 50 pixel. And now if you see, I want it to be side by side. So this is the container of the column. So display flex, refresh it, and all the columns need to have width of 33%. Why 33? 33 makes 19, so approximately 100%. So let's, I think we have repeated it multiple times. Now what we need is, I want this to be at the center. So before that, to have this at the center, what we have to do is, we need to make this at the center. The quickest way of doing this is call the container. So for h1, the container is column. So give display flex, align items center, and justify content center. Refresh it. This justify content doesn't work because we have given the height to the parent. Now if I give, now you can see it is working. You can make this 350 as well, or 300. Or let's try to make the height of 100% and check whether it is working or not. not working. So the only way is, let's get this height from here and paste it to this guy, and cool. Now it's time to increase the font size. Get out of the mobile view and take this outside, and let's increase the font size. And the text transform capitalize. Cool. Copy the whole section and paste it for H1. I think the font size is okay. We need to simply increase the content. So let me increase the content and check for now. Refresh it. Fine. That's alright. This is what we need. Copy the whole section and paste it for the next div as well. Now we have to make this bolder and have the gray color. I think we have not as we don't have separate. Refresh this. Let's see, we have a paragraph, then we have color gray, and then font weight 700. Let's try to increase the font size. Just copy it, paste it. If you refresh, so if you think the margin is very big, or you can make this as 30 on all sides, 20 on all sides. Cool, that looks working. Now I need some padding left, so padding left of 15 pixel, let's say 20 pixel. This doesn't seem to work. Let me check. Actually it's padding right, I'm sorry for that. Cool, almost there. Now let's work on the next section. We want the container 100 pixel on both sides, margin top and bottom 50 pixel, left and right 100 pixel, and then we have the container. If I refresh, this doesn't seems to be working. Let me check why. We have chosen the container. Spelling is right. Yeah, container spelling is wrong, that's the reason. If I refresh, yeah, that's right. And now we want the column to be side by side, so get the container of the column, which is row, display flex, and we need to give the column width of 25% and text align center. Whatever is inside, I need to be text align center. Now we can increase the font size of the eye tag. And let's make this to I tag, and for H6 I want it to be 25 pixel. Refresh. That doesn't seems to work. Let me check why. We don't like this. H5 it is not H6. Cool. Now a slightly margin bottom would be appreciable. Margin bottom 15 pixel. Refresh it. Cool. I think the text is too big. We have to remove a single line. So let's remove this line. Copy this, paste it here, and check. One more word we have to remove it. Fine. Now we need to work on the box shadow. Now the box shadow, let's give the height and width 100%, and we don't have to give height and width 100%. We need to make this slightly smaller, so let me make this 90, and let's give the background color to check. Refresh it. Now it's not the total size of the column. Now if you see, the column here is this much big, and the box width is this much. So let me add a padding 20 pixel. Top and bottom, left and right 0. Cool. So let the bottom be 10 pixel. So let's copy this and paste it, and we don't need this. Let it be white, and we need to add box shadow to it. Now get the box and box shadow, 1 pixel top and bottom, 1 pixel left and right, 1 pixel blur and a black, the color black, and let this be very transparent. Cool. Now we have the box. Refresh this, and I believe the scope of this desktop version is done. Now let's work on the mobile version. So as we do, we have a breakpoint. So breakpoint is simply targeting the specific screen size to get the desired result. So we are going to target the tablet and the desktop for this video. You might be wondering, we have just created the design for desktop, then why we are creating it again? So the answer is, we are going to follow a technique called mobile first, so which is introduced by Bootstrap. So always we have to design for the mobile. So whatever we write, it should be for the mobile. So let's get into the mobile view. Click on the mobile view and stick this at the right side, and now the design is very different. Now what we can do is, we have to design it for the mobile. So get the row and give the flex direction column one below the other, and copy this guy and modify it, flex direction column. So this is for mobile, but for desktop I want it to be a row, so make this as a row. So now if you see, this is for mobile and this is for desktop. That is working. In mobile it is one below the other, in desktop it is side by side. So now you get a clear understanding of what is the breakpoint. So it is just the overriding of the previously written CSS. In the previous, if you notice, here we have written two properties, but here we have just written one property and it is working. It will work absolutely fine. It is because it is just the addition of the previously written CSS. I hope the concept is clear. Now what we can do is we have to increase the width of the column. Let me make this as 100% so that it stretch throughout the screen, and I want the height to be auto. Copy this guy and choose where you have given that. I think here it is. Copy this and make this auto and 100%. Copy this and paste it here. We just need a to style because we are just going to override it, the width and the height. Refresh it. Now everything seems to be working. Now we just have to reduce the size. So 20 is okay, and for the desktop let it be 38, and let me decrease the font size for this as well. I'll make this text align center and justify content on text align justify, and margin top 15 pixel. Cool. Copy this guy and paste it here. Copy it for the desktop version. Now what we have made this, we have made the font size 13 pixel and margin top 24 pixel. Let's try to remove the padding, right? We don't need padding, right? Now just paste the same for the desktop. We have to override font size, margin and padding. That seems alright. Fine. Now what we can do is we'll get into this. So if you see, this is for mobile, and if I get into desktop, nothing will change. The font size got changed. It was 18, I believe. Yeah, fine. Now if you see, for desktop it is different design, and for mobile screen it is different design. Now let's work on this. I want 50-50. So let's get this container and let's give this 20 pixel on all sides. Previously 100. Refresh it, and now let's make the container flex wrap, flex wrap, flex wrap and wrap for the container. Just call this and add flex wrap and wrap. So here we have given 25, we need 50, but for mobile it should be 25. Refresh it and cool. And if you want, you can reduce the font size. Select this, I want it to be 55, and here I need 86 for desktop. The same way you can reduce the size 15. Copy this, and now we have paragraph, font size of 13 pixel for the mobile screen, font size of 13 pixel, refresh it. But for desktop I want it to be 18. Let's check on desktop now, refresh it, cool. Now let's check on mobile. Let's work on the box shadow now. We have to reduce the height, and the width. Copy this, so here it is, just copy it and paste it, except the height and width, don't change anything. And here we have to give 76 and 81, 76 and 81, refresh it. Let's try to decrease the font size. Non-readable. Let's try to make this even smaller. Is okay. For desktop it need to be 10 pixel, and then let me remove the margin bottom. Get this guy, margin bottom to 0 for mobile, but for desktop it should be 15. And now let me increase the padding. Just copy this, inside the box we have a padding. We want to make it as 90 on bottom, but for desktop it should be 10. Cool, we have completed it. Now for desktop is also okay. Now let's, in between the mobile and the desktop we have tablet. So the tablet width is from 768 to 992. So let's get into the inspect again, and let's set the width to 900, which is 768 to 992, which is too small. So in that case what we do is we just copy the same thing which we have given for the desktop and place it for the tablet itself. This is okay, but this needs to be fixed. So inside the feature section want this to be, let's say 50, and here you go, this is totally different. Now if you see for mobile, this is how it looks, and for text for tablet, this is how it looks. So if you notice the difference, this is one below the other and this is the side by side. And if you get into the desktop, this is going to get changed from 2, it has become 4. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening.